Hey guys, so I thought I'd make a video basically about paranoia, delusions, and my trip, my basically my last two visits to the mental hospital, which were I think a while ago, almost a year ago maybe now. But I was watching Sv3rige. Is that how you say his name? I don't know. Sv3rige. Um, that's how you spell his name. But I was watching his videos, and he talks about his trip to. I'll link it down below, but in that video, um, well, I'll link the full video, which led me to this video, because he makes like a series of videos, and I'll just link the first one. But in this first one, he's talking about, if you guys go ahead and watch it or not, I don't know. Um, he basically um, he's talking about why he quit veganism or whatever, or something like that. It's his video on why he quit veganism, and in that video he mentions how he went to a hospital at some point, and so he links a video down below. So there's a few links below that. There's two videos, and in those two videos is his series, his documentation of his experience with going to the hospital and going to a psychiatric hospital too. For he basically starved himself, or went like a month or 2 weeks, 4 weeks, or 2 months of just not eating basically. He's into sun gazing, staring at the sun basically, and then um, hopefully it doesn't rain here, but yeah, he was basically like he didn't eat for a while, and he got really hyped up about not eating and stuff, and he got so like starved to the point where he was really weak and could hardly do basic things. And like they got people got freaked out and thought that he was trying to harm himself and stuff like that. Like, it's kind of ridiculous, but suicide by like starving to death, which is like, that's really, I don't know how that would even be possible, because it's such a slow process. But yeah, basically people got really worried. People tend to get really worried about abnormal things like that, I've noticed in my own life, and that's what made me inspired to make this video, because I didn't starve myself for like to skin and bones, perhaps like he might have, um, or to be really underweight. But I definitely, what got me thinking about making a video was he mentions paranoia, and like he doesn't address the paranoia that he experienced, but I don't know if I can really even captivate or capture the essence of how the paranoia for me has been. But like, I started getting paranoid, I think, when I think I've always had some natural paranoia. I just want to say it's natural. And like, I started getting it in like a mystical sense, like I've fucked up in a spiritual sense, and like now it's kind of like I feel like sometimes I can just be almost like, if it can feel like I'm being held hostage, or like in a hostage scenario, but it's just all in my mind, and it's totally weird. But it's like I feel like this is gonna sound crazy to you guys, because it's something I don't think I can really express, is what I'm trying to say. Like, it's like I'm prevented from being able to actually express this. It's kind of like a Men in Black thing, where it's like they have the memory eraser, and it's like I get this memory erasing thing that happens, or when it happens. And I've had these what led me into the mental hospital the first time is I was brought there by police, basically. That's something that Sv3rige had. Sv3rige? I don't know. Sv3rige? I don't know how to say his name. Sv3rige? I think that's how you say it. But he was brought to the hospital by police because they thought that he was going to harm himself. I was brought to the hospital by police because I think they thought that I was going to harm myself as well. And because I was hearing voices and I was talking in a really way. They call it internally preoccupied, I think. I think that's what they call it, but it's where it's like I'll listen to what the voices are telling me. I'm not really doing it right. Like right there, I just got really paranoid. I don't know. I'm not really. I guess what I'm trying to say is like I'll listen to like what they're telling me to say and stuff like that, um, and sometimes I'm so like focused on hearing what they're saying to me, like these voices and spirits or whatever. I don't know what to call them, interdimensional entities. I don't know, but maybe I don't know. They're just like, I guess, outside the simulation, or I don't know how to explain it, but anyways, I'll be so focused on like listening to them that I don't really like. It's hard for me to like engage or to act normally, and that's kind of what led them to like bring me to the hospital, because I guess the way I was acting was kind of in that manner. Is like there would be a pause. They would ask me something, and I'd wait. It'd be like I'd wait, and then I would say something. Like I wouldn't be able to say something right away back because I had to listen to the voices. And like it's really difficult for me to talk about this stuff because it's hard for me to talk in general. I try to make a podcast with my friends, and it's just like I get so paranoid or whatever that it's just hard for me to speak sometimes. I just kind of recess, or I just like do my own thing a lot of the times. Like I just sit there and meditate because I feel like I'm just trying my best to hold on to like not Alex Gray. Maybe I can edit it in. I might not edit it in. I don't know. But Alex Gray has this image called The Great Turn. And it's basically where it's this being that is turning simultaneously into the dark and into the light. I kind of don't even want to talk about it, but that's kind of into the darkness is kind of like what I've been experiencing, I guess. And the paranoia, it can feel like there's like an invisible explosion going on. It's maybe that's one of those things I can't convey either, but it's just like this horrible feeling that I don't know. It's like I'm trying not to, like, even there, it's like hard for me. It's like I'm trying to, man, it's really hard for me to say because this feels like one of those moments, but it's like I'm not trying to set it off, I guess. Okay, that's like I have to do that. It's like I don't know how to explain it, but it's like it feels like I'm cutting wires or something on like a bomb, and I'll cut a wire and I'll be like, oh fuck, like I feel like everything's gonna, like even now I feel like everything's gonna like blow up or something, and it's just like I feel like I fucked around and got too deep spiritually or something in a way where I fucked with the wrong entities or with the wrong forces, and I've just done like I've just fucked up. I have karma, I don't know, and it's like all of it can feel like it's set off at once or triggered or whatever. And yeah, so hang on 1 second, I have to put my Fitbit back on. But so yeah, so when I was in the hospital, I was totally just like so scared and so paranoid that I thought everything was gonna blow up, that I was just walking around like totally in shock. It's like someone that's the word for it, is shock, or someone who's like shell shocked, where they're just walking around in a daze. Just I don't know how to explain it, but and this was like totally sober, other than, well, not technically, because they basically had me take 3 different medications at the same time. Invega, or it's like um Risperdal, Invega, or Invega. They put me on Invega, but I think that's the same drug basically. Risperdal, Ativan, and something else I can't remember right now. But basically, this like fury of drugs that they put me on after being totally sober and clean and on a meat only diet, like feeling like totally detoxed and clean after several months on a meat only diet where it's just meat and water only, to going on a shitty processed food diet at the hospital, to being on drugs. It's like I totally feel like I got fucked up, or like it was like a test to me, because I remember one time while I was carnivore, I made a statement, and it's basically like, man, if I would ever go to jail or whatever, I would just not eat, and so basically, like, I made that statement in the past, and I feel like I was totally tested, and I totally failed. Like, I only made it a few days, which is kind of sad because I probably could have went much longer. I'm not really good at fasting. It can be really, it can make me feel totally crazy trying to fast. So I don't know. I don't really like to talk about it, but yeah, I'm just eating the really shitty food at the hospital. I was feeling really healthy and stuff, and then going from that to feeling so unhealthy and so sick and just so fucked up from drugs that they put me on, just is a total barrage. I feel like I was brain damaged and just like totally fucked in the head, and like it's like Sv3rige, he was saying that it was traumatizing to like go into the hospital, and it was I want to say it was traumatizing. I've never really had like, it's like I've never really had like a serious traumatic event, but it's just like it feels like I should be careful with what I say, but like it just feels like it was traumatizing in a sense, and it was just a whiplash of just like being on drugs and shitty food and being totally sensory deprived, not being in contact with anyone. Sv3rige, Sv3rige, he was saying, one thing I remember is he was saying how it felt like everyone was against him in the hospital, and that's how I felt too. I felt totally like everyone was against me. Like, I was so paranoid. I felt like the doctors were, I hate to say evil, but I felt like it's so weird, but there's this one doctor there that was probably like 400 or 500 pounds. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but it was like this really overweight doctor. And I felt like, I always imagined like coming face to face with death would be like the Grim Reaper or something. But I feel like that was like coming face to face with death was that lady that was like so overweight that I felt like the softness of, maybe this is another thing that's hard for me to convey, but it's just like the the total just giving in to like pleasure with food and stuff, and just like giving up and whatever. I felt like I hit the archetype, or I just like came face to face with that entity, which is what I feared, and it felt like a black hole. And I felt like I had to just get away and just like, I don't know. Um, I guess it's like, I feel like the diet at the hospital is like something that I feel like I've been traumatized with, because for me, I'm like a total, it's like an alcoholic where they can't have any drinks or else they'll relapse. I'm that way with carbs, with sugar. And when I went to the hospital, I feel like it totally made me relapse and hit a major downward spiral, and just like depression and feeling shitty about myself, and just like, I don't know, just feeling terrible and sick from the food, from the quality of, like they say you are what you eat, and like a lot of people don't know what it's like to go on an all meat diet, or to be on like a fast, and how like clear, or many people would feel like total shit, maybe because of detox or because you get weak or whatever. But I feel like some people would know what I'm talking about when you feel like like if you know what a bong is, it's like if there's a dirty bong and you clean it, like you clean the bong out and you can see through the bong again, like it totally clears it out. I feel like that's what fasting can do, and like a carnivore diet could do. And going from that to just being all dirty again, and like, I hate to say unclean, but that's how I felt. um and it's hard for me to tell if I'm really fucked up in like the afterlife sense, or not, because the paranoia I get is like so extreme sometimes that I could be talking to someone, and the the voice that I hear from them in my mind, the telekinesis or whatever. I know it sounds so ridiculous, but the telekinesis is like totally negative, where like what they're saying to me could be like positive, but it's like I don't really, they could be saying something positive to me, but it's like I totally don't get that feeling, and I'm totally feeling like dredged down by that telekinesis voice, or that telepathy or whatever. And so I get really down sometimes because of stuff like that. Anyways, I should probably wrap this video up, but um I feel like maybe I shouldn't even be talking about this stuff. It's just, I don't know. I feel like it's just really hard for me to bottle it all up and keep it to myself. I don't know. And I totally feel like I could go crazy again and extremely paranoid and like not even talk or speak to anybody and end up in the hospital again. I almost ended up in the hospital again. I could just sense it because the people from the mental hospital, they call me. They have like a team or whatever that deals with people like me or schizophrenics or depressed people or whatever, and like they they call me every once in a while, and I was talking to them, and I told them um, I had like, I'm just gonna be honest with you guys, like I was having total, like, I'm like ashamed to admit it, but I had like suicidal thoughts and stuff, and like I didn't have a plan or anything, but I was just being honest with him, like, yeah, I'm having suicidal thoughts or whatever, because he asked me if I was, and like I said yeah, and I totally felt like I may I felt like I was so close to just ending up back in the hospital again on SSRIs or on drugs that would make me feel horrible. Like I'd fuck everything up for myself just by saying the wrong thing. And like I had to be extremely careful with my speech at that point and not say the wrong thing, because I don't know, if I would have just casually been like, yeah, whatever, yeah, like he would have just like put me back in the fucking hospital, and that would have been probably a huge like downward spiral for me again, because like the hospital is like, that's the place where I feel like I'm like, my diet is kind of like a huge thing for me and how I feel. And at the hospital, just the diet and the pills. I don't like pills or drugs really. I like to be totally natural, but I was court ordered stuff at a certain point, so it's like I was kind of fucked. I feel like I cursed myself or something by getting court ordered, which means by law I had to take these. It was like an Invega injection. Um, but anyways, I was like so scared that I was gonna accidentally get myself put back in the hospital. And when they put you on the hospital, they fuck around and test different drugs on you to see how you would work out. And ironically, it's like the drugs can make it worse, which is why I told that dude that I was suicidal, is because they upped the dose of Invega, and like that's probably something that's like fucking with me. And so we're gonna try a lower dose. I would like to just get completely off of it, but I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. Um, I don't know. I'd like to get completely off of it because I read somewhere that like people who are on antidepressants are actually like more likely to commit suicide or something like that. I don't know if that's true, but it's just like I read somewhere something like that. And also how like people who have been on antipsychotics for a long term, when they get off of the antipsychotic, they actually become psychotic because the way that the drug affects the brain and how the brain adapts to that drug's effect, the brain, it's like it's like um, the brain kind of loses its functioning ability, or it becomes weak. It's like the brain atrophies basically in a way when you have a drug doing what the brain is supposed to be doing. And when you take away the drug, that it's like the brain is so atrophied that you might start to hallucinate or whatever. So I'm kind of afraid to get off of the Invega. I should probably do it, even though I know it'd make me crazy. It's just like, I'd like to, I wouldn't even mind being back in the mental hospital if I could just go there on my free will. It's just, I don't know, when they fuck around and put you on different drugs is what I don't like. That's what I don't like about the hospital. I was thinking of something. So I'm really into the carnivore diet, and there's something called Paleo Medicina, which is this place where, say, people with cancer or like diabetes or whatever health issues, um, they're treated with a carnivore diet or a Paleolithic ketogenic diet, which is like at least 80% animals, but it's really like usually 100% animals. They try to get people on 100% animal only diet. So what that looks like is like, and they do a high fat, moderate protein, or like, it's like the macros are, if you guys look into it, it's a Paleolithic ketogenic diet. It's kind of interesting, and they treat people with health issues. And I was thinking of if I could create a clinic where it's kind of like a intake hospital, or inpatient hospital, I mean, where it's kind of like the mental hospital where you kind of stay there and they watch you or whatever. But instead of having a shitty processed food, bread and fucking pasta and just shitty gluten and whatever food diet, they put you on a strict meat only diet where you have access to different, say, organ meats and cuts of meat and stuff like that, and where they've basically, it's like a rehab facility, but instead of for drugs, it's for carbohydrate rehab. It's like basically getting people off of carbohydrates and sugar, and kind of like getting people to cold turkey into a carnivore diet or something like that. Maybe they'd stay there for like 3 weeks or maybe longer. Maybe this could be kind of like a place where someone would pay to go, like a rehab, and they could stay there for like a month or a month and a half, just so they get really attuned to the carnivore diet and like get off of the, kind of remove themselves from addictions and stuff like that. Or maybe even a fasting facility, a compartment where you put someone goes in there, they pay money maybe, or it's a health thing, clinic where they're going there for a fast while they're being watched over. They watch over someone who's fasting, so they monitor their electrolyte levels, their hydration, their activity, and just kind of like making sure they're okay. Maybe they have some activities to do, so you're not just like laying in bed all day. Maybe they have exercise stuff like a bike or something that you can ride on, and just a place where you can hang out, almost like a gym, but it's like a clinic, like a retreat center. And maybe they already have these, but it's just something I was thinking about. Maybe they could have one for the carnivore diet. Maybe that's what the Paleo Medicina is. I guess I'll link that down below too. But yeah, just thought I'd make a video. Did I cover everything? The Sv3rige video, his ex-vegan video, where he talks about his hospitalizations. I was only in the hospital like 10 days both times, so had like 20 days. I think he was in there for like 6 weeks or something, which is kind of impressive in a weird way. But yeah, he was talking about how you'd see crazy people and stuff in there who thought they were God and stuff like that. I didn't really meet any crazy people. Basically everyone, not everyone, but most of the people that were in the mental hospital were totally normal. And it made me even think, like, why are these people in here? They just had a temper tantrum or something. People didn't want to be around them, so they locked them up. It's kind of like a jail. Anyways, I'm gonna get going. It's starting to rain. Feels good to make this video. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, week, whatever. If you have any questions or concerns or whatever, just let me know. Hope you guys take care. See y'all. Peace.